Hello, everybody. I hope you are having a great day. It is a beautiful day here in Washington, D.C., although it looks like it's about to rain. So I'm here getting a little bit of time on my deck before the rain starts. We're supposed to get a bunch of rain this weekend. Anyway, so for those of you who are not in D.C. today was a sad day for many people. Foo Fighters tickets went on sale for the IMP's new venue at the Anthem, and the Foo Fighters are playing. It's going to be an amazing show. Anyway, so I was thinking about doing a Facebook Live on this before, but then today it really just brought home because I had so many friends who were so sad because they did not get tickets, and it is a hard pill to swallow if you're a concert lover like I am, and when that's your passion, right? So if that's your passion, that's what you love to do, and there are shows that you Sean, hello. I love you. So I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about some do's and don'ts for people because I know a lot of people don't do this as often as I do. So the first thing I want to say is a disclaimer for about what I'm going to say is that basically I don't represent anybody but myself. I obviously have worked at venues in the past, but I do not represent them in any way, shape, or form. I'm giving you my experience with buying tickets for the most part, and some other insights, obviously. Honestly, nothing I'm going to say is rocket science. If you have questions while I'm typing, I will do my darndest to pay attention to that. But yeah, so yeah, I feel for my friends today because it's a rough day in DC because we've got such a love for Dave Grohl. He's from here. The FOOO always puts on insane 3+ hour shows when they're here, so it's always kind of epic. And I've been shut out of shows twice in the last month by one band. LCD Sound System announced a show in New York City. They played 7 freaking nights. Could not get in at all. Could not get in. And then literally the other day, they just announced they're playing another 7 nights. Could not get in at all either. Now, granted, I could only go one night this time, but it was absolutely insane. Sold out instantaneously, maybe even faster than what FOOO did today. So what do I do when I'm thinking about, or what do I suggest you do when you're thinking about going to a show, especially if you haven't gone to a show in a while or you don't do it often? So, how do you get the best seats, right? So for me, most of the time, best is going to be general admission if there is such a thing, because it's going to be the cheapest and it's going to allow me to choose where I stand. Now, it's definitely a trade-off between time versus money. So if you get the general admission, you might have to go to the arena earlier, get in line so that you get closer. But to me, that's with you too, that's where I started. It was insane. I mean, my friends Gina and Paola showed me how to do general admission. We were at MCI Center at the time, 6 o'clock in the morning. I waited out all day. It was crazy. It was super fun though also, until, basically that night, right, for the show. And ever since then, it was like having a 9:30 club or a House of Blues type experience. But you're in this massive arena, right? When I first moved to DC, I went to see Bette Midler, and I love Bette Midler. I don't know, probably I'm a little young to love Bette Midler, but I love her so much. And I didn't even know she was in town, and I bought tickets very, very last minute for $50 because back then I was po and couldn't afford anything. So I bought $50 tickets, and we were in the nosebleeds, like no joke. My friend Amy and I were probably 4 or 5 rows from the upper, echelon up there. And Bette Midler was like this big. And that was the moment I said, never again will I ever be this far away. If I'm going to be this far away, I don't even want to go. So for me, that's my threshold, right? And for certain bands, it's certain things. So for you, and especially if you don't go very often, you probably don't think about these things, but, where are you willing to be, where you don't want to be? For you too, I do not want to be in a chair. I have got to be on the floor. I've got to be close. I've got to be where I can see their faces with my own 2 eyes and have the potential of having that energy exchange. Because for me, when I go to a show, it's all about that energy exchange and the give and the take. And I've been to some performances where you don't get that, which is insane. Because then you might as well stay home and listen to the CD. But But most performers really give it their all and really interact with the fans and really get things going. So for you, just think about, like, where are you going to be happy? Do you need a seat? So I have friends going to U2 on Wednesday, and they needed a seat. So they're sitting. They're not coming with us in the general admission. So you got to take care of yourself and know where you want to be. The other thing to think about with that, though, is not only do you want a seat or do you not want a seat, but where do you want your seat to be? Is it 100 level? Is it 200 level? Is it 300 level if it's like arena or football stadium? Is it, towards the front? Is it in the back? Like, are you going to be okay if it's in the middle? Because when you're in the throes of buying the tickets, you can't be making those decisions, right? Like, you've got to make an instant decision in that moment. So the next tip I'm going to say is that pre-sales are always your best bet, for the most part. So that's through the artist, it's through the venue, it's through promoters, it's through ticket outlets like Ticketmaster, Ticketfly, AXS, e-tickets, any of those companies. They have newsletters they put out. That's also where you're going to find out when shows are going on sale, so that you don't miss the on sale and then are trying to buy tickets later, because then for sure most of the better seats are going to be taken. So for me, I'm on a terrible number of lists you can only imagine. That's actually how I missed the Foo Fighters pre-sale the other day, was on Facebook, but I have so many Facebook friends and so many performers that I'm friends with, etc., that friends with, I mean, in quotes, not like friends with. So, I just missed it in my newsfeed, and I didn't find it until 10:30. I was like, oh, darn it. By then, the tickets were gone. So anyway, you also don't know with pre-sales what tickets are going to be put in the pre-sale or how many tickets will be released, right? So that's kind of the 2020. So an example of that was with U2 Vancouver. We used my pre-sale code to buy 2 tickets for regular general admission, because we knew we wanted to go, and we knew we wanted general admission. We could not get the red zone, which is sort of the VIP GA, so you don't have to worry about getting there early. Like, there's a reserved spot. Well, we couldn't get it in the pre-sale. It didn't exist. Well, then when the public on sale went on, all of a sudden we kept getting the red zone, the red zone, the red zone. And so we kept buying the red zone, the red zone, the red zone. So we had we went ahead and bought them, even though we didn't know who was going to take them, who was going to buy them. And here's another tip, is that we all know people who scalp tickets after they have extra tickets. So they're just as bad as the professionals. So this is an example where I have 2 Facebook friends right now who we met at the Vancouver show because we had an extra general admission ticket and we had an extra red zone ticket, and we sold them at face value and did not make anything. Just, basically covered our cost from the ticket and the service fees. So if you know folks that are doing that kind of crap, I think, to me, they're just as bad as like the professional scalpers, because, they might be publicly denouncing scalpers, etc., but then when they have the opportunity, do they really do the right thing? No, not so much. So the other tip I would give you is, if it's a show like today was, where it's going to be insane and it's going to really sell out, like a U2 or something like that, at Radiohead, get friends and loved ones or whatever to help you buy tickets if they don't want to go, right? And so what I would recommend is give them your login information and credit card. So these are obviously people you trust with that kind of information. I'm not saying like pick people off the street and start giving them personal information. But it helps, right? So that you have just an extra person. Like today when I was on trying to get friends tickets, and there are 3 of us on a conference call, and we're all trying with multiple browsers. That's usually what I do, is have like a Google like Chrome and a Explorer or Firefox. You have to do them in different ones, just so you can't open different tabs in the same, like Google, or else it knows. Basically, it's smart. It knows that you're trying to do that, so you have to use totally separate browser products. So we were all on the line just trying to help our friends, because we knew it was going to be a massacre, right? So if you can get your friends that you trust to help you to do that, give them your information so that if they get in, because a lot of these shows, there are specific rules. Like with this show, the person who buys it, 2-ticket limit, the person who buys the tickets has to be there, and the person who's going in with them has to be there at the same time entering the venue. So there's no transfer of tickets. So sometimes especially with pre-sales and things like that, sometimes they'll have specific rules. So make sure you pay attention to those rules. And it's just easier if you can give your friends or loved ones your information. That way they just enter it and it's not even a question because you know you're going, right? So that's definitely something I would do. Don't just count on the fact that you yourself as a single person are going to get through online, especially if it's going to be a complete massacre like it was today. Also, go to the website early. A lot of these websites will put you in line. And so basically, it was sometimes even a couple hours before the on sale. So if it's at 10 a.m., get in line at 9 a.m. or something like that. And then you're in line earlier and supposedly will get in conceivably faster than those who just get in line right at 10 a.m. or whatever. And then the other thing, this is so key. I cannot even express to you guys how key this is because I know so many people who've worked with me at venues and everything who don't know this either because a lot of them don't have to buy tickets a lot of the times. But once the sale starts, don't stop trying to get tickets. Just because it doesn't give you what you want, depending upon the size of the venue, it could take anywhere from 30 to 60 plus minutes for the venue to sell out. So if you go in there and they don't have what you want, keep trying. Keep saying like today, it was like press get tickets, get tickets. Don't refresh your browser because that will send you back to the line to get back into the website. So if you just keep hitting get tickets, get tickets, get tickets, because what happens a lot of times is even if people put them in their carts, they could be like people like me where they have multiple browsers going and they're trying to see like what's the best tickets they can get or, where they want to be, or, so they're hedging their bets, for instance, or they're also, they're going through the checkout process and guess what? Their credit card isn't working and, something got processed on their credit card that they didn't realize and they don't have the money to buy it. And then the tickets go back into the pot. So definitely do not stop buying tickets. Just keep going until the venue tells you it is sold out and that there are no more tickets left. Because even today, it was like 24 minutes in or 22 minutes in, you would still see every so often something pop up. And it's just basically whoever gets there fastest to buy those tickets. So it's not going to be a lot of tickets, but I've definitely gotten tickets on the GA floor, et cetera, like super late in the game like that. So for those of you who did not get the tickets today, again, I'm so sorry. My heart does go out to you, but what I can tell you for 100% certainty is that the band and IMP doesn't want you to be upset or sad. Like, they don't want you to be pissed. I know these folks at IMP, that's not who they are, right? They want people to have a great time at shows. And from a practical standpoint, that's what their business model is. Like, that's where they make their money. And honestly, with relation to IMP in general, that is how they've made it in this world of corporate consolidation to Live Nation. They are one of very, very few companies that's out there on their own doing individual shows as an individual corporation, as a little guy, and to get such big acts like that. So they absolutely build their brand on everything about fans having unique and fun experiences. And they definitely think about, like when I was in the box office, they definitely think about how do we get the fans the tickets, right? Like, they don't want scalpers getting the tickets. I mean, when I was on door staff there, if there was somebody out front trying to sell tickets above face value and they were selling it to somebody else, we shut that down right away. I'd be like, no, man, you got to sell it for face value. That's it. So that's a long-standing practice that they've been against and actively pursuing, which I think is super unique with a lot of venues. I've been to a lot of venues and no one really pays attention to that stuff outside the venue to make sure that fans are getting, a good shake. Is it going to be perfect? Like, no way. And it definitely sucks when, you don't get the tickets, for sure. And I know, given where some of you are today, you don't want to hear this because you're in the center of the pain and disappointment. But when you think about from a number standpoint, the venue holds 6,000 people. And, in the past, every time the Foo Fighters have gone on sale at the 930 Club, it sells out in 4 to 5 minutes. So that's 45 minutes. If you multiply that times the size of the Anthem, which is 6 times the size of 930 Club. Today, it actually took 32 minutes for all the tickets to be claimed, and I know because I was there trying for my friends. And so that's the same math approximately, right? So, I know a lot of people were talking today about wanting to go back to walk-up sales, which is great because it does help to try and prevent scalping. But, it is a huge inconvenience. I did that actually when Foo Fighters played, keeping with the Foo Fighters theme of the show here. I did that for the Foo Fighters show at the Black Hat when they played there. And that was like, a couple hundred tickets, let alone 1,000 tickets. And I was at work in Alexandria, Virginia. I heard about it, hopped in my car, and got right down in line. And I just happened to make it by the end of the line to get tickets. But it was one of those instantly announced even. There was no, notice at all. So for you to be a fan and have that ability to come in from Chantilly, good Lord, by the time you got in town, it would be way after anything had already sold out. And so I think the other thing that's changed over the years too, in terms of these websites is, they have much more capacity to process orders because, in the past we all heard about shows that crash sites, right? Well, that doesn't really happen anymore because they had to increase capacity. So when you have increased capacity, that's the more people who are able to buy tickets at the same time. And so without any bots, you just have a boatload of individuals who are pinging a site and buying tickets. And when you're talking about 6,000 tickets, you cut that in half and say that 3,000 people are buying 2, plus you have pre-sales before that, right? 3,000 tickets can go like this online. Anyway, I hope that you guys learned something and it was helpful for those of you who don't buy tickets very often. If you have any questions, just ping me later and we'd be happy to ask you. I know people have been pinging me the last month or so with YouTube and everything going on. So I thought I would just give you a couple good tips. So have a great weekend and I'll see you soon.